Imagine working very, very hard to earn your crown, but what would make you say, nah, never mind, you can keep it? Yep, that really happened. Let's talk about it, y'all. Welcome to the chat.
Everyone, and welcome to the chat. I'm Catalina Alurs. We have Henny, Angelia, and Joey, our dash of testosterone, joining the panel today.
A dash.
A dash.
Just a dash.
I always love when you come here because sometimes we do need the male perspective, and you'll see why today we need a male perspective for some stories.
We can use you every day, so not just one day or today, every day we'll keep you, Joey.
A daily dash.
All right, well today, let's get started with a beauty queen, a British beauty queen who says she gave up her crown after a pageant organizer told her she needed to drop some weight to compete in an upcoming international competition. Well, she said that she received an email from her national director who informed her the international director of the competition wanted her to, quote, lose weight and go on some sort of diet plan. She says she made the decision to hand over the title as she didn't want to support a company who didn't love her for herself. So, has there ever been anything that you've ever said, I worked really hard for, and it's offered to you? Maybe you get a trophy, maybe you say, I don't want it. I don't know, because this story actually hits home for me because I'm a pageant girl, former pageant girl. I was Miss Florida USA, went on to Miss USA and was second runner-up there, and I was a model my whole life. And so this hits me in a different way because I like the fact whenever someone is actually on the other side giving me constructive criticism or saying, you know, maybe not to lose weight, but maybe to do something else, maybe to lose an accent, maybe to cut your hair, maybe whatever it is. If it's somebody on the other side that's actually trying to make me better myself, I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. So the fact that she's saying, I'm not going to do it because they don't accept me for me.
But wait,
well, you know what? A lot
yourself.
of people don't accept me for me.
But there's a difference.
If I believe in it and somebody's trying to help me, then I'm totally fine with that.
There's a difference, though, of losing weight, or telling her to lose weight, and telling her to maybe tone up. Don't you agree? This story kind of reminds me of something Henny said a long time ago, of go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. And it sounds like they were kind of tolerating her in the title, but wanted her to change her ways. And don't you think it probably just made the perfect storm? Because the pageant world is known for kind of pushing the, you got to be thin, you got to be thin, you got to be thin. Do you know what I'm saying?
So I mean, but then it seems like she kind of knows what she's signing up for. If that's the case, like, if you gain a little bit of weight and you're still in your reign with that title, like it's kind of your responsibility to upkeep that image that you wanted.
Angelia, I don't know if you agree or disagree. I know, because I used to work in prelims, you kind of sign, I hate to say you signed your life over to these directors, but you do kind of sign over your life to where they have creative control, whether it is your looks or your gown or whatever.
Or your accent or whatever it is.
It didn't matter what it was for me. I mean, I had fabulous directors for the Miss Florida USA pageant, and they both, I mean, were they were very constructive with criticism, but they were also forthcoming with, you know, with things saying, you know, you're doing a great job. So I like somebody who's on the other side. I love a boss who pushes me to be the best that I can be. I love somebody who's on the other side saying, you know what, you did a great job today, but you know what, if you twist this a little bit, it'll make you better. So I don't care if it's losing weight. Better for yourself. Better for yourself. You have to be true to yourself. I totally understand that.
Y'all can keep this. I commend her for this because I think right now the industry as a whole is so focused on size, which is causing so many young girls to put their finger down their throat, trying to throw up what they eat. They don't want to eat. They're afraid to eat because of what the industry think they should look like. That is so yesterday. That is just so old. So for them to say that in a very nice professional way, I'm sure, but it was to make them look good, to make them money in the long run. So it's all subjective on what when they tell you this constructive criticism. If you're true to yourself and you're happy with what you have at the moment and they're telling you, oh, maybe you should cut this, if you're true to you and you know you like it like that, then that's different. So it's completely subjective. But when a woman or a man, whomever, when you know who you are and when you live your truth, can't nobody tell you any different and can't nobody tell you how to change anything.
But that's not true because you think of like I mean, even Catalina, I think of like the music industry. I think of somebody like a Taylor Swift or a Lady Gaga or a Madonna. Anybody who is in that industry even has to do the same thing.
Katy Perry started out as a Christian artist and knew that if she wanted to sell a bunch of records, records and make money and have this big pop star life, she had to switch over.
Got to change your ways. You got to transition.
Because there are some very, 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 very successful.
Exactly. She chose to switch.
But I'm saying, but if she wanted the life, the mega star life that she has right now.
Mary have a mega star life, and they're
But Mary, but you can't. Mary and Katy Perry, probably 2 different price tags. I mean, because you like Mary. So Mary, obviously amazing artist, really great, talented.
Yeah.
But I don't think they come with the same price tag that Katy Perry comes with. Like, you know, Katy Perry tours worldwide, constantly selling out arenas and everything.
Well, Mary is too. So I'm not knocking what you're saying. The comparison I'm trying to make is you make that choice. If it's important enough to you to where you want to be this big person and there's no amount of money type of thing, then that's what you have to go with. But keep in mind, no matter what music genre, you can still get that, because as a Christian artist, every Christian artist, I can name a million of them. I'm sure you can too. They're still really,
so I guess
huge.
the question is where is your comfort level of what you would change if the situation?
Absolutely,
you know what I'm saying?
it's your
Let me change this analogy. Let me put something into perspective. Maybe let's put it into male-female perspective. Let's say a male who is going out to be an athlete. Say he wants to be an athlete, he wants to be a football star. He's a skinny little dude and he wants to be a linebacker. They tell him he needs to put on 100 pounds, 50 pounds of weight. Isn't that the same thing as a woman saying, you know what,
kind of
you need to
and if he wants it
to fit the part?
I do
so
think it
I
is.
think if
to
you
fit
put
the
that
part,
analogy,
but not to fit life.
I'm not saying the life. She was going out for a job. Her job was to be a beauty queen, whatever pageant it was. That was her job. When you're trying to fulfill that role in that job, you do what it takes to get that job.
I guess bottom line is, if you're comfortable with yourself and know who you are and you're living your truth, there is nothing that nobody can tell you to change it.
But that's tough whenever you're young. I mean, you don't know who you are.
And if you're doing it for a job, it's hard to balance the two. Making sure that you're happy in life and also making sure that you're doing what you want for your job.
Don't you think, and before we wrap this up, like it also how much dignity and standards you have. If you're that like, I'll change whatever you tell me to, I just want to win. At some point, you've got to look at your self-value.
Then you're just a jellyfish with no spine.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Boom.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to leave that one right there, because we can go on and on about that, honey. Okay, so here's something that quite a few people may be guilty of. When you're not seeing eye to eye with your boo, your significant other, whomever, do you share those struggles, or do you tell your business to other people? Well, one researcher said it all depends on who you tell. She says, quote, it's important to seek people who are friends of the relationship. She says, quote, just because you have family who might be willing to listen, make sure they're healthy and protective of your sensitive information. So I love this because I am a huge advocate of keep your mouth shut. Ladies, I cannot tell you enough. Been there, done that. First of all, let me say from experience. When you are having issues in your relationship, it all depends on who you got in your circle, because your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you have the wrong people in your tribe and you're telling them your business, some people are waiting in the wings. Can't wait for you and your boo to fall out so they can go ahead and move in and swoop them in.
Because the gossip, there's also, and also you have those friends who just want to gossip. They want your relationship to fail because they just want to gossip.
It has nothing to do with that for me. I completely disagree with this. And here's why.
Oh, you that tight.
Well, I'll tell you why, though, and I think you'll agree.
Not in my tribe.
Pastor friend of mine, his name is Dustin, he told me whenever you're having relationship problems, you need to keep it in between you. Because let's say Catalina and I are together, and I tell my mom that Catalina did this and this and this. Catalina has made it up to me. It's not Catalina's responsibility to make it up to my mom.
Absolutely.
And I will forget to tell my mom, Mom, we're good. But then my mom is always going to have a grudge against Catalina.
Yep.
And that just stirs the pot for the entire family. With that being said, this story is inspired by an article of a girl who had this deal with her fiance, boyfriend,
husband, yeah.
And he cheated, and he didn't want her talking to her friends about him cheating.
Of course he did.
Yeah, of course.
As soon as you cheat on me, you're dead to me. And I'm telling everybody.
I love that.
But it's also like, especially because of that situation, like if you're having those kinds of issues with your partner, you can't always talk to your partner about those problems.
Right.
You have to get a nice combination of someone who knows you both as a couple, who can kind of be this unbiased third party, and then also someone who's completely neutral, like a psychiatrist or a counselor.
I was going to say, for me, that would be a pastor who
100%
knows us as a couple and could give us unbiased
But it would be good
advice.
to be both, the ones who know you as a couple, and then one who doesn't know you at all, like a pastor or a counselor or something like that.
But don't you think whenever you're in a relationship and say you have a massive argument with your spouse or your significant other, don't you go to a friend and you say something, and I don't want to see you dramatize it. You get,
Oh, you totally do. We totally do.
You get things twisted sometimes because there's his side, her side, and then there's the truth, right? So you give your side to your friend, and so the two of you are having coffee together, and you're telling your side of the story, and she's truly your friend, so she's going to back you up 100%. Oh, girl, you did the right thing.
Right, sometimes
You did the right thing.
sometimes
No
I just
matter
need you
what.
to hear me complain about my girlfriend.
Yeah,
That's all
but see,
I
the thing
need.
is, you love your friends, or your true friends are the ones that, I mean, they will back
I'm
you
not
100%.
that friend. If you're wrong, I'm gonna tell you you're wrong.
That's
I'm
how
not
I
gonna
am.
go.
I
That's
don't
how
think
I
so,
am.
though, because you always want
But
to be
that's
there
not
for
being
your friend
true.
to make
If
sure.
you did wrong, I'm gonna tell you.
But
you
that's the
did
difference.
wrong.
You have
really
one of
hurts.
those friends in every friends group. There's the one who will be 100%
Yeah,
real with you all
yeah.
the time. The one who's like, yeah, whatever, you're cheerleader all the time, and then there's the one who's the blend of both.
But why can't
And that's
you
usually
just
the best
keep
one.
it in your relationship? Like I've had that where you're fighting in the car and you're like, but as soon as we get out,
But
of
it's
this
like- it's just
car,
like- it's
we're
like
gonna
fester.
smile. You know what I'm saying?
But sometimes that just makes it like fester. If you can't,
That's
if
true,
you
that's
can't
true.
talk out your
I'm a
problem with
fester.
But you
someone,
can. But you got to talk it out with the right people. A trained professional
Say it one more
who can
time.
offer you
The right
people,
A
not the
trained
ones who are there for the
professional.
chisme. In Spanish, we call the gossip ones the chisme. Like, don't go to that one
And do
who
you know what
wants
I
to sit there
love
and
is your
gossip.
friend who has continually failed relationships, always tries to give you a relationship advice.
you
Don't you
better
love
say
that?
Keep it to yourself. We don't
Oh
want
my
your
gosh,
advice.
Why is that? You can't keep the
Listen,
man.
let me
but
tell you what
trying
you
to
need to
tell me how
do.
to
I'm
maintain
like,
mine.
no.
Girl, bye.
Yeah, don't be that friend. Don't be that friend.
Oh my gosh.
All right, well,
yes.
coming up next, details on the largest free music festival ever held in St. Johns County. Sounds pretty fun, right? Well, we're going to tell you all about it more after the break.